Fantastic. So we're going to get started here. I know people are still joining in, but we don't want to waste too much time because daylight is coming to a close here in Israel. It's already 3:30. By 4:30, we are going to be saying goodbye to our daylight. So we want to show you as much as we can before that happens. My name is Alen Kacal, and I am um, the director of tourism and outreach for Birdlife Israel, which is part of the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel. And with me today, we have Lawrence Kashmir from the from SPNI.
Hi, everyone.
Noam Weiss is joining us down from Eilat, and Nadav Yisraeli is up somewhere in the Hula Valley. So we are going to be jumping between the Jerusalem Bird Observatory, the Neely and David Jerusalem Bird Observatory, where I'm sitting, Eilat and the Hula Valley. And with me, if we can turn around, I have Dror with us today, and Dror is our ringer in charge. Our bander in charge, and is going to be showing us some of the birds that we are catching here at the Bird Observatory as part of our banding program. I am going to jump us straight over to Nadav Yisraeli, who is up with some amazing birds in the hula. Nadav, can you tell us what you're seeing up there?
Hi, Ellen. Hi, everybody. This is me. And now back to the cranes. I was just wondering, how do you say cranes in Norwegian? I'm not sure I know the answer, but maybe our participants from Norway can share that with us. Try and zoom in just a little bit. Okay. Anyway, I'm in the Ula Valley at the moment, at the north part of Israel. There's some noisy, beautiful birds. I hope you can see them. Tran. Okay. These are common cranes coming to Israel now on migration from Norway, Finland, Estonia, basically most of Northern Europe, and east from that into Russia, all the way to Siberia. This is where they breed. This is where they spend their summers. And in autumn, in the fall migration, they are migrating south. Some of them will make it all the way down to Ethiopia, across the Sahara Desert in Africa, and some will stay here for the winter to spend the winter here in Israel. Most of them in the Hula Valley, but some in other agricultural valleys in Israel, the Jezreel Valley, and also the western Negev area, not far from the Gaza Strip. Cranes are very interesting birds, quite big, and they migrate as a family. Okay, I'm zooming in. Okay, so you can see some of the individuals that you can see have a black and white pattern on their heads. These are the adult birds. By the way, they mate for life, or at least for a long uh, for um, uh, for a long period of time, like several years or so. But some cranes, like this one, for example, has a brown head. These are the young birds that hatched this year, and they migrate as a family together with their parents. So we're seeing families and families. You can see now two young birds on the left, one with its head up, and the other one with its head down, now feeding. And just next to it are its parents. They're feeding together, they're migrating together, and only at the age of about 1 year old, they will separate from their parents, and the parents will migrate north back to start a new breeding cycle in the next spring. And the young birds will join like uh, bachelor um, groups until the age of 5 when they turn sexually mature, and then they find a mate. They have to carefully choose their mate because, like I said before, they mate for a long period of time, or at least, or sometimes they mate for life.
Nadav?
You're asking what are they eating? Yes.
Yes. What are they
At the
eating?
moment, they're feeding. Do you have another question, Lawrence?
I was gonna ask you exactly that. What are they eating? They look a
Okay.
bit peckish.
In this particular case, they're eating peanuts. Okay. Let me show you. I'll take the phone out of my scope. So this is the field where they're feeding. You see the Golan Heights in the background, and this is the field of peanuts that was just harvested. Okay. And these are the peanuts that the cranes are looking for, and they crack the shell to find the peanuts inside. Yeah, they they do not roast them before they eat them. They just eat them, but they have to crack the shells before they do so. And to do that, they use their quite strong beaks. They just hit on the shells and get the peanuts from inside. Of course, after eating a lot of peanuts, they have to drink. So water are very important for cranes on migration. Also, they like to roost, to spend the night standing in the water for protection uh, from predators like jackals, jungle cats, uh, and so on, foxes, and so on.
And Nadav,
But so
it's
at the
hard to
moment,
focus. It's hard to focus on them, but I can see that there's lots of other birds also flitting around in the field. Little
yeah,
guys.
most of them, the smaller birds on the ground are white wagtails. Also, migrating birds, quite small, like the size of a small sparrow, and they weigh about 20 grams. And they also migrate from Russia and Eastern Europe through Israel. And some of them will stay here for the winter. In Hebrew, they're called Nachlieli. In English, uh, wagtails. And they are not here for the peanuts, but for the insects. The insects are coming for the rotten shells of peanuts, and the wagtails are coming for the insects. Oh, you see this displaying crane? Has its head up. Uh, Cranes can live for a long time. We have evidence in Germany of a female crane that at the age of 29 had chicks with her. So she was ringed 29 years ago, and due to the color combination on her ring, they were able to identify it's the same individual. And 29 years later, it was still around and had chicks. So yeah, they're big birds and can live quite um, long life. Um,
Nadav, there's a really
yeah,
good question in the chat. And they say
yeah.
like, what is it? Where exactly are these cranes? Are they in like a nature reserve or like, where are these cranes in relation to like who owns this land?
Where are these cranes? In what?
As in, like, this is if I'm right, this is just a farm. Yeah, this is someone's field. This is a farmer's field,
Yeah,
and
I
the
was
cranes are
just
just
saying that, yeah, this is a field in the Hula Valley. The Hula Valley is an area in the north part of Israel, actually not far from the Lebanese border and Mount Hermon and the Golan Heights. And it used to be up until the 1950s, it used to be a big wetland, okay, a part of it was a lake and the rest was a wetland, and it was drained in the 1950s. Some of the cranes are flying away, not sure why. And since then, most of the area is agricultural land. And yeah, this is the farmland. But at the moment, the farmers do not mind that the cranes are here because they're feeding on the leftovers of peanuts. And if you think about it, basically they're helping the farmers because they're cleaning the fields from uh, from the leftovers of peanuts, which means that in the next crop there will be less peanuts sprouting uh, in this field, and this is actually good for the farmers.
Okay,
Later
so
in the season,
Nadav, like the follow-up
yeah,
question is what happens when it becomes bad for the farmers? I assume there's a bit where the farmers are like go away cranes, and how does that all work?
can you repeat the question? I didn't
I said like
understand.
you said that this at the moment is really good for the farmers, but what happens when it's bad for the farmers? Like when do the farmers want the
Okay,
cranes
so I
to
was
leave?
just saying that later in the season, the farmers will start uh, sowing their winter crops, like winter wheat. I'll try to show you the cranes. You can see that some of the cranes are now flying into the roost, into the lake for the night roost already. Not all of them. Maybe they were scared for some reason. Not sure why. Anyway, when the farmers will sow their winter crops, then they would not like the cranes to feed on the newly sown seeds. Okay, so then we have actually the CEO of SPNI at the moment, Dan Alon, was doing his master's degree on cranes in the Hula Valley uh, in 1996 and 1997. And he actually was one of the initiators, and he gave uh, the start push for what we call the Cranes Project in the Hula Valley, which is a joint project between the farmers and the SPNI and the NPA, National Parks Authority, and the Jewish National Fund, which basically is aiming. Oh wow! Look at that! Look at that! All the cranes are flying from this field, and they're starting, and they're leaving this field. I don't see any disturbance, so they're doing it on their own will, but they're getting closer towards the lake to spend the night there. Oh wow!
It's fantastic.
Anyway, so the cranes project haven't started yet this year. It will start later in the season, in mid-December or at the end of December. It has two aims. One of it is to protect the farmers' fields from the potential damages of the cranes, and the other one is to enable ecotourism, focusing on cranes in the Hula Valley. So basically, to gain these two aims, one measure is to to guard. So we have guards that are chasing away the cranes from the farm fields, and on the other hand, later in the season, they will spread out food for the cranes that chose to stay in the Hula Valley uh, to um, uh, to attract them to one specific field, and hopefully, if the situation will be secure enough around here, and the war will end soon, hopefully, then visitors from Israel and all around the world will be able to come here and to watch the cranes in the Hula Valley, which is basically ecotourism in the Hula Valley, um, and to also it's another way of profiting from this wonderful phenomenon.
Thanks, Nadav. Before the sun starts to go down even more, we're going to jump down into that. I know there's more questions about the cranes, but we will come back to you. Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to change position and try to look for other birds.
Good. So, good afternoon from Elat. We are at the Flamingo Pools, which is actually a salt factory, but it's just an amazing site for wildlife. diversity of birds is great. And you'll have to believe me that I'm surrounded with about 1,000 pink flamingos, the greater flamingos. And you probably already spotted the odd one. Yes, that's what it is. It's a black flamingo. And we believe that it's one of a kind in the world. We never been able to document more than one anywhere in the world, which is black. And once it's gone from Eilat, it appears somewhere else. So we call it Freddy, just because of some lullaby story about a flamingo with a suit that looks exactly like him. And the history is it arrived in Eilat as a young bird in 2012, which means it's now about 12 or 13 years old, and showed up. We were very surprised, spent about a year here, and then started moving around. It was first spotted in Larnaca, in Cyprus, then in Adana, in Turkey, and just last year, for the first time ever, it went into Africa, to El Fayoum, which is not far from Cairo, the Nile Valley, outside the Nile Valley, and it's an amazing bird. Biologically, not too much, not too interesting, because just a flamingo with extra melanin, extra pigment, nothing else. It doesn't suffer socially. Flamingos are sometimes very social, sometimes not really social, like you see right now. And when they do their gatherings and or trying to attract females, so yes, he's also participating and is pretty popular, but just like any other flamingo. So he's here for the last 12 years on and off, and it's just an amazing sight. People from all over the country heard about it. There were TV shows about him, and here he is. He just came back probably from Egypt last week. So we are very happy to have him here again. You can see that he's now foraging. He's using its feet to float shrimps and other invertebrates that are in the bottom of the water, and float them, so you can actually get them easily.
Noam, has he had chicks?
That's a big mystery, because the flamingos never bred in Eilat. We've seen them building nests, but an egg was never laid. They prefer to breed when the flocks are larger, and we don't fully understand why flamingos choose some sites as breeding grounds and some sites are just a place to hang around. So we don't know. We don't have any evidence of him ever breeding, which is it's an interesting thing that maybe never bred. He's not into it, and we just don't know. But in Larnaca, they don't breed. In Turkey, they do. In El Fayoum, in Egypt, they don't. In Eilat, they never did. So I guess this guy is not a father yet, or a mother. You can't really tell. But he is sure very, very beautiful. Look at him. Yeah.
Oh,
and these flamingo pools is nothing to be taken obvious. Sometimes we see what a beautiful place, and it is an amazing place. But this needs protection, this site. And legally, it's nothing but protected. It's a salt factory, and because of how attractive it is, people want to build all kinds of tourism infrastructure around this place. We just had to fight a camping site that was about to be built here with 750 people living in tents. You probably know that these flamingos are mostly night active. And once there are people hanging around with dogs in the moonlight, it's very romantic, but not so good for the migratory birds. So we expect that something like that would just scare the birds away. It's not just flamingos, of course. I'll take you later for another tour, and a small tour around this site. There is so much more to see. And we had to fight. This initiative to build the camping site took about 3 years campaign that was involving a lot of public work, community work. We made a party here, of course, with earphones, not to disturb the birds. We were dancing, we were happy. And in the end, the mayor arrived and said, that will never materialize. We will not let anything hurt. This is how we managed to protect this site. It's
Great.
so beautiful. I must take you just a second, Alen.
So, Noam, we're going to come back to you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to jump to me at the Bird Observatory because Dror has a little bird that we have caught to ring, and we would like to show you who we have here. So, Dror.
Okay. Well, so, hi. We have this little cute fella named European Robin. Unlike the American robin, which is actually a thrush. Oh, look to the camera. No, not behaving. This guy is actually more closely related to the flycatchers, the European flycatchers. He comes to us from around Germany. He's gonna probably spend the winter around here, maybe go down to the area of Eilat, maybe a bit more south than us, but not much more than that. They winter around the Mediterranean. He has this gorgeous, gorgeous orange breast, which surprisingly doesn't pop out as much when he walks in the shade of the much as you'd think. So this bird here is a juvenile. He was born the past spring, and he already flew all the way from Germany to us. They have amazing fuel, which is fat, just like our planes use gasoline as fuels. They use biofat, I guess, the fat that they store around here. It's
On the throat.
Yeah, under the throat. Anything else you want to say about him?
Yeah, take a look at how big these eyes are. Why does he have such big eyes?
It's so he can see his prey better under in the under storage of the forest.
And these birds, they come to us in the winter. Let me just take him from here a second. And they hang around our gardens, and you can hear them. I hear them a lot. Whoops. I hear them a lot in the early morning hours as they are calling before the sun comes up, ticking away, and sometimes even singing. And he wants to be let go. And we caught these birds today because we're putting rings on their legs. So I can show you real quick. We have a ring that was put on their leg. Not today, right?
Actually, no, it was put on by another one of our ringers at the JBO 3 days ago.
It was ringed 3 days ago, but they're just arriving in Israel. And he'll probably hang around here for a little while before moving on. Or he may spend the entire winter with us. Who knows? We'll know if we catch him again. And this is a European robin. So we're going to let him go to continue feeding for the rest of the day. And this is just one of the birds that our ringers catch here during the ringing sessions. We are hoping to, we're trying to keep track of the populations of migratory birds that come through the country, making sure, trying to see what the trends are, that there's increases or decreases in the different populations, what's going on, maybe changes in the timing of migration based on climate change. And of course, we're also looking at the local birds and trying to make sure that our local population is staying steady. We ring all year long. So in the spring, from the 1st of March to the end of May, we ring every single day. And then for the rest of the year, we ring 2-3 times a day. 2-3 times a week. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, as long as it's not raining hard, we or it's too hot, we're here ringing. Okay. Someone has some questions about a bird that just flew into their house. I will answer you privately. Okay. And meanwhile, I'm going to send us back to Noam, who has some interesting birds down in Eilat.
Okay.
Noam, we're coming back to you.
Thank you, Alen. So I'm at the same site with the flamingos, only looking to another corner. And as you can see, this site is this salt factory, these salt pans are not just for flamingos. The diversity of migratory birds that use this place is pretty large. And here, down here, you see in the more or less in the center, was flying away, was a dunlin. In the back, you have a Mars sandpiper, and these are two little stints. I'll take it a little bit higher. This is the spurwing lapwing, and in the back is a blackwing stilt, and behind it, let me check what it is. It's another Mars sandpiper, and the red shank is on the corner. So as you can see, this place is really, really amazing. There are so many birds around, and these birds, some of them are coming from as far as Norway and even the Arctics, from the tundra. They fly non-stop or with a few stopover sites on the way to Eilat. They spend some time here and then continue towards Southern Africa. Now, some of them are going to spend winter. We are about winter birds today, and this is how winter looks in Eilat. It's always sunny here. But some of these birds are probably going to stay right here in Eilat for the winter. We don't know why. It's probably because they have the food they need and and of course the lack of disturbance. So this is very important for us to. You can see the birds are so busy picking the shrimps from the surface of the water or from the mud, just to get you an idea of how much these birds eat. So every time this blackwing stilt is packing the water, he actually gets one. So you can try and calculate how much do they feed. It's crazy. They just eat so much, and there is no lack of food. Now, this site is, again, not an obvious thing. It is under risk because of a construction plan to build. Not here. This place is pretty much safe, but on the location of the factory itself. So we are not so sure how the future of this place will be. For now, it looks like that there is a plan that these ponds will continue to thrive and serve both people and birds, and we will be able to conserve this phenomena. But other salt ponds that are more to the south, we will have to work hard to make sure that they actually survive. I think this is an amazing example of cooperation between conservation and industry and people. So this place is, first of all, a salt factory, but it's also an amazing nature site. And the way to conserve it is probably cooperation. There is no other way. We just need to work together with the salt factory, which the car is about to cross the view in a second. So you'll see the car of the salt factory. I'll wait for the person, and he's gone. So without this cooperation, this place will not be able. We will not be able to protect it. In other places, you can declare a nature reserve, but this is a completely different story. This isn't nature. This is a factory. And you can see, I've told you, we're at the same location. And look at these pink beauties. You can hear all these little things around me. And the sun is starting to go down. And the colors of the flamingos are getting just Really, really amazing. Oh, look at this guy. Yes, it's so beautiful here. I'll take you a little bit out just for the context. Look where we are. These mountains are about 2,000 feet tall. They're in Jordan. These are the flamingo pools. You can see it's industrial pools. And there are just so many birds around us. Just amazing.
So, Noam, someone is asking is if this is affected by the tides.
No, it's nothing to do with the tide. So it's all about, it's not a salt marsh, it's actually a factory. The water that you see here, and this is the inlet right here, are actually water from the sea that went into our desalination factory that produces our drinking water. And then the salty water, which is the extremely salty water, which is actually the wastewater of the factory, arrive here. The salinity is about 7%, and then it goes from one pool to the other, being evaporated in each pool until it gets 25%, and then the salt is crystallizing and cultivated. So this is actually nothing to do with tide or the sea. It's a combination of desalination and salt production at the same time. So it's a completely independent system. Yes, the ponds are stocked with shrimps, and it's part of the process of salt production. The salt will not be clean if there'll be too much algae, and the shrimps actually feed on the algae. So the salt factory stocks the ponds with these shrimps, but they explained to me that they need to do it very, very lightly and very seldom. Because the ecosystem here is sustainable. They hardly need to do anything. The only thing they need to do is make the water flow, that's important, different salinity from pool to pool, and keep disturbances out. So this way, this whole ecosystem is actually fully functional, and they are very profitable. This is a very good factory because they just use sun and just a little bit of energy to pump the water to here, and that's basically it. And it's producing just by solar energy.
Noam, someone was remarking, how do the birds find these spots, the peanut fields in the Hula and the the salt ponds in Eilat? How do they know to come to these places? It's a good question, right?
It's a good one, but let me take it to another direction. They have been pushed here. Exactly. In the past, when nature was thriving, they didn't need factories nor fields. It was all working perfectly. But we have used the land differently. We have used the land to our own benefit. We need food, we need salt, we need energy infrastructure, we need transportation, and for that we need land. And we change the land use from natural to something else. So these birds, this location is probably not the first choice of the birds. They have been pushed here. And how do they find it? Well, they fly around and find it. They migrate in extreme heights. They can see everything. And from generation to generation, or even without that, they have the sense to find these places easily. That's Absolutely. The list of the problems.
I liken it to when you're in a strange country and you're looking for where it might be a good place to eat. You look to see where the locals are and you go there. So they're kind of looking to see where everybody else is feeding, and that usually tells them that there's something there. And the birds will attract other birds to come in to feed there as well. So let's see if Nadav has anything going on up in the north. Nadav, are you ready for us?
Not yet. I might be in a minute.
Okay. All right. So meanwhile, I'll ask Noam one more question. Noam, someone was wondering if you have any collaborations with the Jordanians on environmental issues.
Okay, that's another good one. First of all, just to show you what you see in the back of this pool. I'm not sure you can see it, but this is actually the fence, which is the border with Jordan. And what you see beyond it is the Aqaba International Air Strip. It's the airport. So we are just on the border with Jordan, like I'm about 300 meters from the border. And yes, we do have some collaboration, but I'm not going to tell you about it because if I talk about it, it would stop. And this is the main problem. Enthusiastic people that want to conserve nature, and they still have their political views that are probably contradicting to ours. Their need to protect nature is stronger than their political views. Therefore, we managed to find common ground for cooperation. But they don't want to pay the price for it because once they cooperate with us above the table, they are boycotted and it's a problem. So I can tell you so many stories about how I picked a wounded bird from a Jordanian official, which I never met because he put it in a box somewhere and I had to go like a treasure hunt, find the box hidden somewhere, take the bird and continue back into Israel with the wounded bird. So this is how it works, unfortunately. We have cooperation, but it's nothing to be, we don't want to talk about it. And it's happening on a daily basis. There is always a bird that with the Israeli transmitter that got electrocuted somewhere, or got wounded, or got captured, and someone wants some ransom to release it. And we don't like to do that too, but we are sometimes
Noam, looks like we're losing Noam's
I just want to add.
signal.
I just want to add one thing
so
to.
I'm just putting the picture into Nadav. Noam, you can continue talking, but we're watching a bird up in the Hula Valley right now.
Okay, sorry. So what I'm saying is cooperation exists and it's daily, but we don't want to talk about it because if we do, it might stop. That's the
Okay, thank you, Noam. Nadav, what are we watching?
We're watching a white wagtail on a fence. I'll talk about the fence a bit later. But this is a white wagtail. You see how he wags his tail? That's why they're called wagtails. And we saw them earlier beneath the cranes, but that was from a big distance, and they were very small. It's still a small bird, like I said before, weighing about 20 grams, migrating birds, and they come here for the winter. For a lot of people in Israel, they are like the bringers of fall, bringers of winter to Israel, because they're very common around houses and in cities, and sometimes inside the cities on large roofs. You can see a roost of thousands of wagtails together, which is very nice to see. They feed on insects. You can see their needle-like bill. It's like tweezers, and they catch small insects with those tweezers. They forage in the fields, in the farm fields, sometimes near vegetation. And now this one just left. And I want to take my camera out of the scope and show you this fence that he was standing on. This fence is around the farm field, and it was built here to try to prevent wild boars from getting into the farm fields and damaging the crops. If you live in Israel, you know that wild boars are very easy to see in cities, in Haifa and in Tivon, and sometimes also in Jerusalem. In some cases, they became quite a nuisance. Here in in the Hula Valley, boars are doing damages for years. But just 2 or 3 years ago, farmers have started to build these kind of fences to protect their crops from wild boars and also porcupines. I'm trying to find another bird that was just hopping around here. Let me see if I can. Anyway, we at the SPNI really don't like these fences because they also prevent other mammals from um, roaming freely around the valley, and I'm talking about sometimes even gazelles, and I'm talking about foxes, and I'm talking about wolves that are not damaging the crops, but they do live in the area and they cross from the Golan Heights on the east side of the valley to the Galil Mountains on the west side of the valley. And these fences really are really limiting their movements. Trying to catch another bird that was just hopping around here on the vegetation on the side of the road.
So,
If I can get it for
Nadav,
you. Yeah.
while you're looking for another bird, there is a question about how the war is impacting the birds in the area. Are they impacted by the noise of the bombings, or other effects? Do you want to
The honest answer to this question is I don't know. Maybe the full answer is we don't know yet, because the war is we're just over a year into this war, unfortunately. Sorry, let me postpone my answer to this to a bit later, and we'll look together on this wonderful and beautiful Siberian stone chat. This is a female. Another long-distance migrant coming to us from Siberia and the Caspian Sea area. Let's see if I can get it again. There it is. You see how it's flicking its tail? That's a strategy to try and make insects move. It's a strategy used by quite a lot of uh, insect-eating birds. They flick their tails trying to frighten the uh, the insects, make them move, and then it's easier for them to locate the insects, and then they fly off, catch the insect, and as you see, they're coming back again and again to the same or very close perch. Okay? These perches are used by them because they have good sights from. Okay? They can see the area well. I think I lost it this time. Anyway, that was a Siberian stone chat. And coming back to the question about how's the war impacting, so the long-term impacts of the war, we can't measure them yet. Oh, just landed very close to me. Bear with me. Look at this. Isn't that a beauty?
And these stone chats are part of the landscape in the winter. They're like everywhere when you go to the fields all around the country. You
Yes,
see
the
regular stone chats, and yeah,
they keep winter territories.
yeah.
So if you go to the same place during the winter, you will probably see the same stone chats again and again. It's not a breeding territory, but it's a winter territory.
And no, Dav, we're just going to quickly jump to the JBO because we actually have one in Draw's hand as we speak. So
let me.
Oh wait, it's not a stone chat; it's a redstart. Never mind. Same little bird. Let's take a look at the redstart.
Okay, so this is actually a bird. I'm showing you first the tail, and only later I'm gonna show you the face. It's another
In front of.
Okay. Sorry. It has a gorgeous red red, orange tails. They didn't have the name for orange. So they, so they named stuff red, like the robin is orange, not red. This is a female redstart. The males are way more gorgeous. It also eats bugs. It also lives in forests. So it also has big eyes, not as big as the robins. But unlike the robin, this bird is actually a long haul migrator, and you can see it has a very long wing. Which long wings are more efficient than shorter wings in flight, but they come at a cost. So shorter haul migrants will not have the same length of wing as longer haul migrants, which the benefit becomes more worth it.
So it's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah. Cool. And did this have a ring on it?
It did already have a ring on it.
And when did you catch him?
We caught him last on, I think this morning. This morning.
Oh, this morning. So he hasn't been here very long.
No.
Okay. Or she hasn't been here very long.
Yeah, and the fat also shows that as well. But yeah.
So what we're hoping is that this bird is going to keep adding fat to her, and that she will continue on the migration. And you're going to let her go?
I'm going to let my volunteers,
our young volunteers, go. And I just want to point out, Draw has been here a couple years now.
I think 4.
Having done national service here in lieu of the army. Has gotten a ringing license and is now working here as one of our chief ringers. We do a lot of work here at the Jerusalem Bird Observatory, catching kids and training them and investing in the next generation so that when Noam and myself and Nadav all retire, we have a new generation of people who are ready to take on the challenge of nature conservation and preservation. So I see that Noam has something back in Eilat. So let's just jump back to Noam. The sun is setting fast, so we want to see the last few birds before they disappear.
Okay, so I moved from the flamingo pools, so the salt factory, and I'm now at the sewage pond. It's not exactly a sewage pond. The right name would be the recycled water reservoir. So these are treated water that are being in a reservoir taken for agriculture later on, and the birds just decided to go away. But here, these are some coots and moorhens, and they're actually completing the work of the sewage treatments by eating some of the leftover material. Don't know how to call it, but it's the leftover of what is still in the water, the nutrients. They can use it, and therefore it's a fantastic habitat. Now, in the not very far past, this site has been really depressing. The vegetation used to be cut every year and twice a year, and there were lots of hazard birds got electrocuted here, and there were lots of disturbances, even from bird watchers, but also from fishermen that actually come to fish in this dirty water, and all kinds of traps. And it was pretty depressing to come and see the birds that have been pushed here because their natural habitats are gone and or under a lot of stress, and they had to come to such a place. But together with the management of the water company of Eilat, we managed to completely rehabilitate this habitat. Instead of electrocutions, now we have perches that are electricity free, which means instead of sitting on top of a pylon with electricity that endangers the birds. Now they just sit on a perch, which is just a perch. That's all it is. And the vegetation, they reevaluated the management of the site, and they decided that they don't need to take the vegetation as often as the before, and for sure they don't need to take all of it. So we have an agreement, and once in a year or two, they take some of the vegetation out and let some of it grow. And this has completely changed the conditions of this place for the bird. So much safer now. And in addition, we have built a beautiful island. It's here it is. I built it myself. So this is a floating island for the birds to have a rest away from jackals, which are sometimes problematic for them, away from the disturbances of the people. And as we speak, look what's happening right here. This is the fence that's just been built. This is going to be, for the people who haven't visited Eilat for a really long time, this is a new height we are now building right now, and it is going to be a birdwatching site. So imagine what we managed to do with some people who want to do good. It all started at the bird sanctuary, at a community event, that the people decided, they came to me and said, we want to do something for the birds. And this was the first big project I made, which was not a negative campaign against wind turbines or against camping site. This is a positive one. Let's take a site and make it two things, safer and better. Safer, taking all the hazards away, and better, take every possible opportunity. So this habitat, which isn't nature, will be so much better for these birds. And it is. It just is. It's just really nice to come here now. And there are so many birds around. These are the coots, and there are some herons in the reeds. There are some kingfishers that I can hear. So they are, you can hear the moorhens, and it's just beautiful. It's naturally has some fish. Also, the reservoir people, they add some fish to as a management of the site. I think there is a nice kingfisher hovering here. Just went down. So some of the management of this site is putting fish inside, so they eat the algae. What we do mechanically, cleaning the water, the birds and the fish can continue later on here in the reservoir. And the people of the reservoir claim that you can actually drink this water. They are so clean. After this process, the plants and birds and fish and the machinery that is used here, you are getting really high quality of water, and it all goes to the date plantations of Southern Arabia.
And I can say, spending the last half hour of the day in this pond is absolutely fantastic. But Noam, I'm going to leave you for a second and go up to Nadav, because he's got a raptor sitting on a tree. Is a Yofi, what a beautiful bird this is. Nadav, you want to say what it is?
Yes, can you hear me? Alen?
Yes.
Okay, this is a black-shouldered kite. It's getting late and the sun just went behind the mountains. So the light is not that good on this one. But this is a black-shouldered kite. It's quite a new breeder to Israel. The first recorded nesting was in 2011. So it's only been nesting in Israel for 13 years. The first record of breeding black-shouldered kite in Israel was here in the Hula Valley. And since then, in the past 13 years, they've been breeding in many places around Israel. And I think I won't be wrong if I'll be estimating the population now in Israel somewhere between 1,000 and 500 or even 2,000 breeding pairs. They've become quite a common raptor in Israel. only here in the Hula Valley we have, I think, a couple of hundreds of breeding pairs, and they're breeding almost in every place from the Mount Hermon, slopes of Mount Hermon in the north, all the way to the Negev desert, where there's agriculture. They're feeding mainly on voles, and sometimes other birds as well. But the main food item is voles, which they catch in the farm field, which is actually a service they provide for the farmers. So the farmers like them a lot. They feed on voles during the day, and they take the day shifts, and the barn owls take the night shifts. So it's a cooperation between black-shouldered kites and barn owls in Israel.
Nadav, okay, so there's only a couple of minutes left, and Alen has got a helicopter.
Sorry?
So I said there's only a couple of minutes left. So
Yeah.
I just want to, there's been lots and lots of questions about how people can visit us and see these birds and visit these places safely. So I guess I'll give you 2 minutes to say where people should go in the north of Israel, and then we'll hand over to Noam, who can answer the same for the south of Israel.
The moment I'm just taking you for a landscape view. This is I'm looking now west towards the Galil Mountains in Israel, in the north of Israel, and now we're looking south, and we'll complete the landscape route to look east on the Golan Heights. Unfortunately, we're at war. So the most northern parts of Israel, where I live, schools don't operate at the moment, or they operate through Zoom. And from time to time, we have to go to shelter. So, it's not the best time to visit Israel from abroad at the moment, but some places in Israel are still quite safe, and it's okay to visit. And but I really hope, for so many reasons. Just watch with me the ibises flying over towards the roost. For so many reasons, I hope this war will end soon, and the hostages will go back to their homes, and all the evacuees will be able to go back to their homes, and it will be safe again to travel all around Israel, and you will be very, very welcome here. I think I can speak for the entire team of Birdlife Israel that our biggest passions are, first, to protect the nature and birds of Israel. And the second one is to show them to other people, and to spread the word about the beauty and the greatness of nature and birds in Israel. So I really hope that we can practice these passions again very soon.
Thank you, Nadav. Noam, how about you? How can people visit you in Eilat, and also how can people visit these salt ponds where we were at today? And I'll highlight you.
Okay. First of all, this is for you, Nadav. So here you have a black-shouldered kite right here in Eilat. Same bird.
Probably the same one.
Yeah, no, that was very fast.
Same one,
The
444 kilometers away.
Yes. So, blew off. So I'll just show you the sunset. So are you still with me? Something went wrong here.
Yeah, we're still with you. We're still with you.
Good. So the Eilat is safe. Okay, it's not that we don't have rockets and drones here and there. We just had yesterday 2 of them, or 3, don't remember. We take it lightly now. It's all been intercepted, and we feel very safe here. The bird sanctuary is full of people. People from all over the country. They come to have some time off from the war, and they to have some leisure time in Eilat. And even if there is a siren, people don't mind too much anymore. So the Eilat Bird Sanctuary is open to the public every day, all the time. We do bird banding daily, every morning. The flamingo pools are public site. It's a factory, but you can go in and see. It's open all the time. These sewage ponds right here, they are not exactly open, but if you can sneak through the fence, soon it will be officially open. So you can also see this beautiful place and its birds. So Eilat is 100% functional, and we are doing our work. Yes, just like Nadav said, the evacuees have been here. We had 60,000 of them. Right now, I think Eilat, maybe just a few thousands from the north that are still with us. But it's the whole people of Israel. People finish their reserve army service. They come for a few days in Eilat to forget about everything and then go back to their normal life. And also here in Eilat, we are looking forward to have our abducted people back to their homes. It's very important to all of us.
Amazing. Alen?
Someone just asked us if the field schools are still being used for evacuated to house evacuees. I think for the most part, no, but at least 3 or 4 of our field schools are hosting the army, so giving soldiers a place to sleep and shower and eat and so on. So we're still very much involved in the war effort. And then the other field schools are actively working with youth around the country, bringing them out to enjoy some time in nature and to relax.
And also, and also ecotherapy as well. Like we're doing a lot of work with ecotherapy. Like we've moved on from our respite activities, which we started at the beginning of the war, and now we're moving on to programs focused on resilience for youth. So we're very excited about this program, which is going to start in earnest in the next few weeks as the school year restarts after the holiday, all the Jewish festivals. And Alen, just how do people, before we go, how do people find you in Jerusalem?
So the Jerusalem Bird Observatory is open every day, and you can come and sit with us and enjoy our bird hide a few times a week. We also do bird ringing, and you can find us on Facebook or send us an email. And if you're coming to Israel and you want to see what's going on, we have talks and walks and lectures, and we're happy to go bird watching or just go out in nature with anyone who wants to come. So contact us, let us know you're coming, and we're happy to meet you. And I'm going to say goodbye from the JBO with this little guy, last bird of the day for our ringing station. This is a black-capped warbler, and you can see his little black cap on his head. This is the most common migratory songbird in Israel. Tens of millions of them pass through the country every year, every season. And some of them might even be staying the winter here with us. More and more of them seem to be staying the winter. And so our little black cap says goodbye, and
we'll see you all next week.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. We had like about 200 people joining us today.
Fantastic.
Which is amazing. So thank you so much.
And I'd like to thank Dror Levkovich, who ringed with us today, and Nadav Yisraeli up in the Hula, and Noam Weiss down in Eilat, and Lawrence Kashmir, who was behind the scenes. We love having you here. We love birding with you, and we're happy to do it in person one day when you can come back to Israel and join us. So go out, go birding, and we'll see you soon. Take care,
everybody. Thank you very much for your support, and we'll see you all next week for a webinar about our museum in Northern Israel, Beit Shishkin, and how we're managing that throughout the war. And we have a whole schedule of webinars throughout the rest of this year. So hopefully you'll be able to tune in to join us then. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. Farewell.
Take care.
Bye-bye, Nadav.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, Noam. Bye-bye,
Thank you
Alen.
for watching.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for supporting.
Bye.